Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we expose the hidden truths behind those boring corporate filings. Today we are diving into First Merchants Corporation's latest report, and let's just say there is a new incentive program in town that could shake things up for their top brass. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you love getting clear explanations of complex financial documents, and join our Discord community linked in the description below. It's a great place to chat about these insights. First Merchants Corporation, a name you might recognize if you keep up with regional banking, has just filed their current report. Now, these reports are usually packed with a lot of important information, but today we are going to focus on what really matters to the people running the show and how it might affect the company's future in the short term. This particular filing is what is known as a Form 8. Think of it as a special announcement or a news flash from the company to the public and the regulators. Companies file these when something significant happens that shareholders and investors should know about right away. It is not a regular update like a quarterly report, but rather for events that are unexpected or important enough to share immediately. They are reporting to the US Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, which is the government agency that oversees our stock markets and makes sure companies are honest and transparent with their investors. Alright, so First Merchants Corporation based in Indiana is the company we are looking at. It is a financial institution, and it is important to remember that banks and financial companies have their own set of rules and expectations when it comes to how they manage money and how they reward their employees. Their stock is traded on the NASDAQ, a major stock exchange. This means that regular people like you and me can buy and sell shares of the company, and its performance is very much in the public eye. Now let's get to the juicy part. The main reason they filed this 8K is under item 5.02. This section deals with changes in leadership and, more importantly for us today, new pay arrangements for their top executives. On the 3rd of February of 2026, the company's board of directors approved a new plan called the 2026 Senior Management Incentive Compensation Program. This is basically a bonus program for their top executives. It is not about giving them more company stock or options, but about providing cash bonuses based on how well they perform. The program applies to the company's top earners and other senior managers. Let's look at who is involved and what they can potentially earn. Mark K. Hardwick, the Chief Executive Officer, has a performance target. If he meets the goals set, he could receive a bonus that is 80% of his base salary. If he blows those goals out of the water and exceeds expectations, he could get a whopping 160% of his base salary as a bonus. That is more than double his regular pay just in bonuses. Even if he just hits the minimum required performance, called the threshold, he would still get 40% of his salary as a bonus. Next up is Michael J. Stewart, the president. His potential bonus is a bit lower. At the target performance level, he could get 60% of his base salary. If he goes above and beyond, the maximum bonus he can earn is 120% of his salary. For hitting the minimum threshold, he would receive 30% of his base salary. Michelle M. Kawicki, the executive vice president and chief financial officer, has the same bonus potential as the president. She can get up to 120% of her base salary in bonuses if she achieves the maximum performance goals. A target performance would get her 60% and the threshold would get her 30%. John J. Martin, who is the Executive Vice President and Chief Credit Officer, has a slightly different scale. His target bonus is 50% of his base salary with a maximum of 100%. The threshold performance would give him 25% of his salary as a bonus. Finally, we have Joseph C. Peterson, the Executive Vice President and Chief Commercial Officer. His bonus structure is similar to Mr. Martin's. He can earn up to 100% of his base salary as a bonus if he hits the maximum performance targets, with 50% for the target and 25% for the threshold. So what exactly are these executives being measured on to earn these bonuses? For Mr. Hardwick, Mr. Stewart, Ms. Kawicki, and Mr. Martin, their performance will be judged primarily on the company's operating earnings. This means how much profit the company makes from its core business operations. After accounting for all expenses and calculated in a way that follows accepted accounting principles called GAAP. Mr. Peterson's case is a bit different because of his role. His bonus will be based 70% on the company's operating earnings, just like the others, but the remaining 30% will be tied to the performance of the commercial line of business specifically. This includes their operating revenue and their net contribution, meaning how much profit that specific business segment brings in. This makes sense. If you are in charge of a specific area, a part of your pay should be tied to how well that area does. The key thing to understand here is that there are clearly defined levels for success. There is a minimum level of performance, the threshold, where they start getting paid. Then there is the target level, which is a good performance. And finally, the maximum level, which is outstanding performance. If they don't reach that minimum, the threshold, then they get nothing. It is a structured way to reward achievement. So after the company's fiscal year ends, a special committee from the board, called the Compensation and Human Resources Committee, will review everything and decide on the exact bonuses to be paid out. This means if they perform somewhere between the threshold and the maximum, they will get a proportional bonus. For example, if the target is 80% and they hit 60% of the target performance, they might get a bonus that is 60% of the way between the threshold and the target payout. However, anything below the threshold gets them 0, and anything above the maximum doesn't get them any extra bonus, reinforcing that the maximum is the absolute ceiling. There is also a requirement to be employed by the company when the bonuses are paid out to receive them. The exceptions to this are if an executive passes away, becomes disabled, or retires. In those specific situations, they or their estate would still be eligible for the bonus. Now, this is a crucial point for corporate governance. First Merchants Corporation has what is called a clawback policy. This means that if an executive receives a bonus based on financial statements that turn out to be significantly wrong, or in other situations where it is legally required, the company can actually take that bonus back. It is a way to ensure honesty and accountability at the highest levels. This is a good thing for shareholders as it protects against potential fraud or major accounting errors. This summary is just a highlight. The full details of this incentive program are available as a separate document, Exhibit 10.1, which they have filed along with this report. And this brings us to the very end of the filing, where they list all the attached exhibits. This is where you find the full detailed program document we just discussed. And then there is the cover page in a format that computers can easily read. To wrap up, this report is all about how First Merchants Corporation plans to incentivize its top executives for 2026. The program ties significant cash bonuses to the company's financial performance, particularly operating earnings. The clear tiered structure ensures that success is rewarded, but only if a certain level of achievement is met. The clawback policy is a responsible measure to protect the company and its shareholders. Looking at the direction of the company, this incentive plan signals a clear focus on profitability and measurable financial results. The fact that Mr. Peterson's bonus is more diversified by including revenue and net contribution from his specific area suggests a strategic focus on driving growth within the commercial segment. This is a good approach because it aligns individual incentives with specific business unit performance. A potential risk here is the reliance on operating earnings. If the broader economy falters or if there are unexpected industry-wide challenges, it might become difficult for executives to hit those target bonuses, even if they are managing the company effectively in other ways. However, the structured bonus system with clear threshold minimums and maximums does provide a framework for predictable rewards and penalties. Overall, First Merchants Corporation appears to be using compensation as a tool to drive performance in a focused, measurable way for their senior leadership. It's a common strategy, but the specifics of the percentages and the performance metrics are what make this particular program noteworthy. It encourages the executives to deliver strong financial results, which is ultimately what shareholders want to see. Alright, that is our breakdown of First Merchants Corporation's incentive program filing. What is your take on these bonus structures and what they signal for the company's future? Do you think these targets are realistic or too aggressive? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable. Hitting that like button really helps us out, and subscribe for more deep dives into corporate filings. And don't forget to check out our Discord community in the description below. Thanks for watching. See you next time.